You don't lose desire or connection in relationship. For women with super traits, you override yourself one too many times and your body adapts. It knows it's not safe. We like to think, and this is the general public opinion, that desire fades away slowly. We hear it all the time. Excuses are made. Oh, you're busy. You have too much on your plate. Must be your hormones. You're perimenopausal. And in my clinical and coaching work, I have seen the opposite. Desire shuts down at very specific moments, but you are trained not to see them. And that's what I want to talk about today. I'm Dr. Jordan Wiggins, naturopathic doctor, author, coercive control clinician, and dominatrix trained pleasure strategist. If you are listening, you've likely been the fixer, the anchor, the emotional glue, the person that people go to when shit hits the fan. And those are not flaws, those are super traits, the qualities that make you capable, reliable, successful. I started my coaching work in 2018, and it started being about sexual dysfunction, about how 50% of women globally will experience sexual dysfunction at some point in their lifetime. And it was about sexual dysfunction and our relationship to pleasure. That is why I wrote The Pink Canary. And I realized there was some nuance, there were some things that I was missing, and you get to come on this journey with me. You don't have to make the mistakes that I made. And it's only improved the speed at which I can help those of you with super traits. And if you don't know you have super traits and you haven't taken 3 minutes to head to the show notes and do my super trait quiz so you know what I'm talking about and what your top super trait is, I suggest you pause this episode and do that now. So this is something that I missed. And here I'm calling my workout in real time, but it is going to speed up your healing, speed up the clarity, speed up you being able to rebuild, to have clarity in your next steps and not keep spinning around trying to find solutions that don't work. So one of the mistakes that I made when I wrote The Pink Canary is that I assumed equality. But women with super traits are rarely in equitable partnerships. And that's a big problem because we are usually the overfunctioner. And generally, energetically speaking, that means we are paired with an underfunctioner. And I have clients who they are the primary breadwinners while their partners stay home. And I have clients where they are supporting partners with active addiction. And it's just this general pairing where we have a lot of success. We are really high functioning. We're people pleasers. We love to get things right, do our best. And oftentimes we're paired with people that don't quite meet us or don't quite put in the same effort. So we're taught that over time, desire disappears, right? We're just getting older. There's stress, there's kids, there's deadlines, there's hormones, there's aging, which is complete bullshit. And if we want to keep our bodies healthy, we need the right knowledge and tools, which I'm going to do an episode specifically on what we need to do to age well so we can have sex into our great sex, into our 60s, 70s, 80s, if we so choose. And that is what I do in my clinical practice as a naturopathic doctor. Help high achievers have health that matches their ambition, optimal health. And I help a lot of super women with autoimmune diseases, anxiety, depression, things like that. The fallout from not understanding what our super traits are and overgiving when our tank is so empty and we are so burnt out. Help put those foundational pieces in place for women like us on the health side of things. Now, I want to be clear. Desire doesn't disappear. It goes offline when we override ourselves, when we erase ourselves, when self-erasing is required for connection. Okay? Our bodies are smart. Our nervous systems, our pussies, they know better than we do, than our superwoman brain. Okay? So if you are competent, if you are emotionally skilled, you are responsible. If you are a high functioning woman who can't understand why intimacy feels flat, why there is no connection in your relationship, why you have success in career and other areas of your life, but in our personal lives, we're faking a lot of smiles. We're not as happy as we think we should be. We are confused because we've tried everything and we just cannot seem to get our personal relationships to feel good. And this could be friendships with children and with our romantic partners. Most of the women that come to me are not lacking awareness. They've done therapy, read books, they've read Esther Perel, they've read Terry Real, Gottman. They can quote things and they can tell you exactly what the problems are. They've had the conversations. They understand attachment styles, love languages, communication frameworks, but yet they're still stuck. Their bodies are still tense. They're tired. They're inflamed. They are looking old. They've lost that spark. And I've been there. My hair was falling out. I had adult acne. I was disconnected, sexually flat. So the question is not, why don't I understand this? Or what am I missing? Or what is this one thing that I need to do or how I need to say it that's going to fix things? That is not the question. If you are here to fix your relationship at all costs, this is not the podcast for you. So the question that you should be asking, and the question that is going to lead you to the outcome that you want, is why doesn't all this understanding change how my body responds, change the desire and connection in my relationship, change my action day to day? And if you want to answer that question, keep listening, because the part that most models and frameworks and therapy advice and communication tools misses is that having insight, having that cognitive understanding is not going to rewire our nervous system. Safety does, practice does, getting the reps in. And high functioning women are often very practiced in understanding without any safety. And that's any safety within ourselves or within our partnerships. And I see this even with women they're so brilliant and they're in these corporate careers that are draining them. They're giving way more than they're getting and they're stuck and they feel like they can't leave. Or you've been to couples therapy for 2 years and you can name all the patterns, but nothing has actually changed in the way you feel. It's like things repeat on a loop. And I have done this where I got divorced, left a relationship where I was not being met, where there was no emotional safety. And in entering into a new partnership, you think, oh, I've got this right this time. I'm gonna have somebody that's equally as over functioning as me, gonna put in the same effort. I'll find an over functioner this time. But then wherever we go, there we are. The same patterns are repeating because the minute we are triggered, the minute we are overwhelmed, it is our survival patterns that kick in. Those are our super traits. Okay, so if you have super traits and you can name all the patterns, you didn't fail to apply the tools. The tools were never designed for a woman with super traits. And that's what we need to heal, or else we're going to keep being disappointed in sex and relationships. Most relationships and sex advice assumes 2 people that have roughly equal emotional capacity, 2 people with equal responsibility for repair, equal tolerance for discomfort. But women with super traits operate differently. Your nervous system has been trained to anticipate emotional outcomes, manage relational stability, intervene early to prevent rupture, forgive and excuse male behavior. So I hear all the time, like, oh, well, it's his ADHD, it's his childhood trauma, as excuses for him to continue to not show up and excuses for you to continue to work harder. And that increases the fractures in relationships. It doesn't bring them closer. So when most advice just says, oh, just express your needs, communicate openly, ask and you'll receive, refuse to stop doing dishes, it's going to get better. Okay. Then the onus is always on us. Do more, fix more. And I know I've been there. I was there for years where I was listening to podcasts. I was taking notes. I was saving Instagram posts, going to therapy, giving myself more things to do. And what I need every woman with super traits to hear is it is not about more things to do. First, we have to focus on how to be. And I'm going to give you an example of this. a somatic orientation. I want you to invite you to notice something, not to fix, but I want to invite you to notice what happens in your body when I say these next 3 points. I want you to notice what happens when you consider saying what you really want. Notice what happens when you imagine speaking freely, not softening your tone. Notice what happens in your body when you imagine letting somebody be disappointed. So, common sensation of a woman with super traits that has not healed, that does not have the safety in herself, that she's constantly needing to source it from other people and be hypervigilant, is jaw tightening, chest constricting, pelvic floor contracting, breath kind of pausing, getting shallower. The thought of disappointing somebody before I learned to wear my villain crown and let people be wrong about me, like the thought of literally disappointing somebody felt like I was dying. I couldn't breathe. My heart would race. Now, I don't love it sometimes. So it's this patterned anticipation. Okay. Our body isn't reacting to the moment we're in, it's reacting to what it expects to happen next. And these are why we learned our super traits, our survival strategies at a young age when we also didn't feel safe. So this is why desire fades. There's mismatched libidos in long-term relationship, not because of all the crap that we read about, but desire is energy that has to move. And in order for energy to move, we need safety. So if your nervous system learned that waiting leads to managing, asking leads to repair, that you have to lead. So if you're asking for something and you are scared that it won't be met well and you have to do more relational management or do all the steps, it's easier to just do it yourself. If you learned that honesty leads to you emotionally having to clean things up, you stop sharing your truth. So desire becomes inefficient and the body does the most intelligent thing it can. It downregulates, not to sabotage intimacy, but to conserve energy and stay safe so we're not hurt. So desire doesn't shut down because you don't want connection. It shuts down because connection costs you too much when you are an overfunctioner and you're with an underfunctioner. And this doesn't mean your relationship is doomed, your partner's a villain, you're broken, avoidant. It means your nervous system adapted to a dynamic where you carry more. It adapted to an extractive relationship. And sometimes those extractive relationships require us to sever parts of ourselves. And then we don't feel met or seen or whole because we're only sharing parts of ourselves. And these adaptations work until they don't. So if we want to fix libido, desire, connection, and ultimately our health, our aliveness, our well-being, our joy, we don't start with lingerie and sex positions. We start with deconditioning our super traits. In the next part of this episode, I'm going to show you the exact moment these adaptations form, okay? Not in theory, not in childhood, but in real time, in adult relationships. It's subtle, and then once you see it, you can't unsee it. And what your body learned was going to happen, those patterned responses, is more important than what you understand or what is happening in real time. Going to give you an example. A client of mine, brilliant, stunning, so smart that I don't even really understand what she does. Okay. Managing teams, making strategic hires. Her husband was home, not working, but through our work together, he's gotten a job again and their relationship is in a much better place. But they had a conflict over parenting and she went right into shrinking, right into people pleasing, harmonizing. She even had the kids apologize for something that really wasn't their fault. And after the fact, she's like, what happened? How can I let this, how can I do so much, have so much success, and then in that moment collapse and in that moment be out of integrity? And if you think that they're going to have great sex and connection when there was a conflict like that hasn't really been repaired, you're wrong. And sometimes it's just the maintenance sex. It's to get it back and pretend things are okay, but your body knows and really deep down you know that it's not. So when the nervous system understands this pattern, these patterns of the moments that desire is lost, the moment that it stagnates, our life force stagnates and we shrink, that's where we're going to have clarity to take different action and actually have a hope of having the sex we want and the relationships we want and the health that we want. If effort worked, you would already be fulfilled and having many orgasms a day. Okay. And this is the premise of the workshop that I am teaching on February 5th. It is for smart, capable women who have the skills to be very good at relationships and still feel disconnected, flat, or unseen. I'm going to teach you the 3 most common ways that high achieving women with super traits erode intimacy. And I promise you, this is what therapy missed. And I'm going to teach you my 3-step process to heal it. This is the first time that I'm teaching this live and for free. February 5th at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Head to the show notes and claim your spot. Space is limited, or head to thepleasurecollective.com/supertrait patterns. Okay, so let's talk about the collapse point. The point that desire shuts down, which is actually the moment of self-override, just like that client that I told you. So the desire was fractured in that moment of disconnection. And I'm going to walk you through this sequence so you can see it clearly for you. So number 1, a signal arises. That could be disappointment, irritation, longing, right? You want to be told you're beautiful or hear those words of affirmation, but it's just not happening. Or this signal of something's just off. You can't put your finger on it, but something is off. The second thing is the body is registering it. Okay, tightening in our chest or throat, pelvic floor bracing, breath becoming shallower. Maybe we're feeling like hot or constricted somewhere, butterflies in our stomach. Then the third step is our mind intervening. This is going to turn into a whole thing. I'll deal with it later. I don't have the capacity right now. It's not worth it. The fourth step is the self-override, the signal that is suppressed, the tone that's softened, the connection, the staying in the relationship is prioritized over sharing your truth. And then the fifth thing is our body learns, our nervous systems, our belief patterns. We learn that expressing needs equals hurt, instability, that wanting equals work, that honesty equals I will have a price to pay. And this happens when we have superwomen in extractive relationships, when we are the overfunctioner and we are with an underfunctioner. Okay, our nervous system does not track his intention. It tracks outcome. Your body learned that wanting more creates more work, not more connection. So it goes a little something like this if we want to give an example. So a client of mine notices disappointment. Okay, she's asked her husband to plan a date night. He didn't do it. She considers saying something. She predicts the emotional labor that she'll have to manage, and she decides not to. She feels relief for like 30 seconds, but her body has stored the unexpressed emotion, the unexpressed signal. Okay, so later down the road, desire lays flat. Desire is flat. Touch feels neutral, not as pleasurable, or ick. Sex feels like an effort. Okay, and this is adaptive for nervous system efficiency. Why do we want to keep putting ourselves through that loop? But if we don't have the tools and we don't learn how to handle these exact moments that desire shuts down in ways that are going to work when you have super traits, then you are eroding the intimacy in your own relationship. And this happens specifically to women with super traits. When we have empathy, high responsibility, high tolerance, we are hardworking, we are loyal, we're forgiving. Okay, these traits make us very hypervigilant, very good at anticipating reactions, sensing emotional outcomes, preemptively adjusting our ask, adjusting to keep the stability of the relationship. But it is killing us. Like literally, it is affecting our health and well-being. Loneliness is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And if you want to tell me that you are not feeling lonely and you are not feeling grief by being in a relationship that isn't meeting you, then again, I think you should go follow Instagram accounts that are are fluffy, the ones that I wasted years following because I thought I could fix it. So when we have super traits, we are optimized for stability, not self-expression, not truth, not connection, not the best sex ever. And I want to be clear here. So a one-time sacrifice is a choice, but repeatedly overriding ourselves for the stability of the relationship is conditioning, and it is a problem. Each time we override ourselves, our truth, we're sending our body signals like, don't ask, it's not safe. Don't want, it's not safe. Don't express your erotic desire, your aliveness, your truth. It's not safe. It hurts. Keep it small. Shrink it. Desire moves, and our body stopped moving. We have stagnation because we learned it wasn't safe to do so. And this is not emotional weakness. This is a high functioning adaptation. High achievers don't shut down because they're fragile. They shut down because they're efficient, or we only share parts of ourselves. Even the high desire women, right? We're seeking that connection in sex that is not available elsewhere. So our body recalibrates. It doesn't fail, it recalibrates. And I see it show up in 3 ways with my clients. Before we get into those 3 ways, I want to pause here because some of you know exactly what I'm describing. And if this is you and you are ready to do something about it, you are ready to move forward, I have 3 spots open for private coaching at the time that I'm recording this episode. And private coaching is for women that don't want to keep analyzing this alone. They don't want to keep trying harder and not getting results. What happens in private coaching is we identify the super traits and the exact moments that you are overriding and shutting down intimacy. We're going to name what's yours, what isn't. You're going to have trust in your internal signals and your internal knowing again. And I'm going to give you 2 tools to start implementing immediately. And I've changed the way that I do my private coaching. So the first step is you head to the show notes and you fill out an application. You tell me exactly what is going on. And the second step is that you and I get on a call and we discuss what's happening. I've customized my private coaching offers because people need different things. So some of you might want to book an intensive with me, a half day with me where we dig deep into a couple issues and you leave with clarity and able to take action. Sometimes there's more going on and we might want to work together for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, but this is completely individualized and it is completely custom because in a day of massive amounts of information and overwhelm, what you need is somebody hands-on to give you clarity and action steps that are going to work when you have super traits. Because right now you're a high achiever. You override your needs. You manage others' emotions. You tolerate disappointment. You earn connection. And where you need to be is a receiver, a woman that notices sensation, responds instead of reacts and manages, who lets others carry their part, whose tank is full, who is fulfilled, who trusts in timing. Receiving is not passive. Receiving is discernment and it is safety, and I can show you how to do it. And if you want to do that with speed, if you do not want to wait another day feeling the way you are feeling, head to the show notes and apply to work with me privately. The 3 patterns that I see for women with super traits. Pattern number 1, desire without arousal. You think about sex, you want connection, but your body is neutral or numb. So your cognitive desire is intact, but your somatic desire is inhibited. This is like you're thinking about sex while you're at work, but then when you get home and you're with your partner, or you could go to a date night, you're like, rather just read a book and go to bed. Pattern number 2, sex is regulation. You initiate sex to feel close. Presence, connection, things increase briefly, but it drops after sex. So you're constantly chasing that. Your relationship has some ups and downs, but you're seeking that connection and intimacy because you don't get it elsewhere. And sex is used as access to safety. And this is not mutual nervous system engagement. It's this sort of seeking. It's this push-pull pattern that I see with many of my clients. And the third pattern is avoidance without aversion. Okay, you're not repulsed by sex, but you just don't want the effort. Management feels heavier than pleasure. You're kind of like, I don't care if I ever have sex again, but it's really important to my partner. Okay. And usually these clients are avoiding emotional labor or more emotional labor. Their partner's not meeting them emotionally, so their body is shut down physically. But they want intimacy. They want connection. They're just not finding it through sex or shut down. These are like sexless relationships that people have sex once a year. And the fourth pattern is nothing is wrong, but everything feels flat. Relationship looks functional on the outside. Communication is existing, but desire has faded. So we have stability in these relationships, but without attunement. We have safety without truly being erotically met. And these are our like roommate relationships where things are pretty good, but there's not that eros, that desire, that connection. Okay. So these patterns, these 4 patterns that I've seen over and over and over, thousands of women with super traits. It's not a libido problem. It's not a hormone problem. It's a self-override problem. Your body is smart. It's shut down strategically. Desire didn't leave you. It just learned you wouldn't listen. You lost yourself. You lost your yes and no. You lost your clarity. So if you still want sex, but you feel numb during it, if you initiate sex to feel close, but feel emptier after, if you avoid sex because it feels like another place you have to perform, or if your body goes quiet even when your mind says, I want this, these are all signs of self-abandonment adaptations. And none of the popular sex and relationship advice out there is addressing this in this way for women with super traits. So I want to share with you the 3 conditions that desire needs. Number 1, permission to want. Permission to want without earning and without managing consequences. Most of the women with super traits that I talk to do not even know where to start with that. And where to start with that is claiming your spot for my February 5th masterclass and booking a call to work with me privately if you are ready. Number 2, the capacity to tolerate intense sensation, intense disappointment, yours and theirs, without collapsing. And the third condition that restores desire is being met. Not chemistry, not intensity, but mutual responsiveness in the moment. And I'm going to expand into that next week and what that looks like. So we'll deepen that more when we talk about presence. So this episode named the moments that our body checks out that wasn't failure, the 4 patterns that I see in women with super traits, and the 3 conditions that desire needs for women with super traits. So I know you were taking your notes. I know you were listening. I know this was landing. And if you are ready to start taking action, sign up for the February 5th masterclass. And if you are ready to never sacrifice pleasure for partnership, again, to stop overriding yourself, to be given clarity and tools that actually work, head to the show notes, fill out the application to work with me privately. We're going to get on a call and find out which custom way makes the most sense for you and where you're at and where you want to be. And I cannot wait to connect.